Let me get this chat thing set up. Hopefully, let's see. Let's get it set up for live chat, not just top. Ah, there we go. I don't think there's anybody on here yet. Oh, there's somebody on here. How did you know? How did you know? Was it in the picture? Could you see it in the picture? This is why I have a callus right here on this finger. Holy crap, there's 13, 16 of you. So I have a callus right here specifically from Tonto's. To get that forward edge, I have to get way up on it, and I wrap my finger around, and so I have a permanent chisel ground thing. I actually have to sharpen two of them, and like I said, this is not a bad design, just not well executed. I've definitely seen worse design knives, but what's up, guys? So that wind picked back up, and it's chilly out here again. So I've already misplaced the stone I'm looking for. There it is. I mean, if you look, see all those sharp edges and all that stuff, it's just really, all the stuff about it is stuff that just has kind of went away in the knife world, except for Emerson. They do get crazy crazy sharp. I know, the music is processing. It takes a couple hours. It was supposed to be a premiere, but the premiere button didn't work, so I just let it go live. It was supposed to go up at 5 o'clock. By that time, the music would have started, but at least nobody's going to complain about it being too loud. I'm going to talk about something that people neglect when they're on their sharpening gear. I've seen a lot of people, like I saw a video of a guy sharpening him. He wasn't doing a bad job. He was doing a pretty good job. Like I was like, that guy knows what he's doing. I can't remember what channel it was. It wasn't Outdoors 55. Outdoors 55, Alex does an amazing job sharpening. Shit, I can't remember who it was now. But what they were doing was, and I'm guilty of it too on this one because I just did it, little chips along the edge of your stone. Where's my, here, let me show you on my 10,000 grit. You get little chips where you bump into stuff and you wind up with little chips along the edge. Well, there's stuff that you need to do. You have to take that corner, knock that corner off. One, that helps keep it from chipping. And two, it keeps you from rubbing your blade across that chip and getting aberrant scratch pattern that you shouldn't be getting. Like, I did that this morning on this one. I sharpened a, where'd it go? I sharpened a Northfield. Some shillings. I sharpened a Northfield premium pocket knives. They are nice little folding knives. I sharpened one of those for a guy, and I noticed what was happening, and then I checked my stone, and on my 10,000 grit stone, I had some chips that I couldn't see. So you just take your, you know, take whatever stone it is you're going to use to do it. Like I would just use this one as an example. And instead of doing it clean to flatten top, you just knock that down along the edge until it's nice and smooth, and then you're not going to get that weirdness. But who was it I saw doing that? I was like, oh God, no wonder. And he's like, I don't know, this is just like, this one has a couple small ones, but they're really easy just to knock those corners off. And then you're not dragging your expensive knife across a chip, basically. I will say, one nice thing about Emerson knives, whoever does their heat treat does a really good job on their heat treat. Their knives always get really crisp, clean edges, nice grain pattern, really fine. and they do get really sharp. No, that's okay. You probably have seen a lot of videos of me sharpening recurves, which I use these stones for. For flat blades, I use these. Or it could be the angle. You are at a little bit of a different angle. My tripod was I fixed my tripod, but it's actually the detent. Now, I will say that the last couple I've gotten, the detent has been better, but I still am not a fan of that big intrusive wave feature and lock stick. I mean, this one has actual detent. You can hear it, you can feel it, but it's got lock stick. And everything on it is sharp. Everything. The G10, the angles, everything is sharp. And that's my major. This is aggressive. Everything on it is aggressive. Way more aggressive than it needs to be. Okay. Go back to this 600. Yeah, it actually, I've seen it. There's been a couple of, some of the newer ones are not as bad. I think they've been listening to some of the comments that get made. I'm not the only one. I like thumb discs. I do like thumb discs, but I like the option of a flipper slash thumb disc. The Bob knife, the Bob T knife, the Mass Drop one, the CTF is has got a thumb disc, and it's amazing, but it's also got a flipper. And so having that flipper, I'm glad you said something. I gotta get a hold of that guy about the guy that was upset with the Tonto I did for him, because, you know, I think it was just miscommunication. I don't think either one of us really knew exactly what the other one was talking about. He was upset, and I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, he did. But I also think it was the first time he ever dealt with like a professional sharpener or something like that. So I don't think he 100% knew everything. His knife is really sharp. It is sharp. You guys saw the video. Yeah, look, like I'm not even cutting it. It's just, there's lines on it, but it's just that callus is just... More trash? Just set them. I'll take them out. So... It's chilly still. So did you guys see, I put up the... So Matt has that TKI special edition Emerson that we have both fondled and played with. No, none of us ever carried it. But he is, he's gonna sell that. He's got some money that he's got to spend, and I told him I'd try and sell it for him. So any of you guys that are interested in that, that TKI Anthem, or not Anthem, what the fuck is it? The, go watch the video. Marfione, yeah, the Marfione Custom. So, and if I was independently wealthy, I would have bought it from him. I had one of those in my cart on it, and then I had a bunch of other stuff that we had to pay for. This was before I started the business, when I had disposable income that didn't get turned right back around into making money. I had one of the full titanium versions in my shopping cart, held for, man. So These chisel ground tontos are a little bit more tricky because you can't take too much material off from the backside where you screw up your edge geometry. But you got to take off enough so that when you're going to town on it on the other side, and then you have to get to a point where just marrying those together. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to take a look at where we're at. Excuse me. And then I'm going to go back to a different 1000. I'm going to go to this 1000 that's on the diamond side that I know is nice and flat. Here recently, why do you use, yeah, it's 154 cm. They said, why do you pretty much stick with the water stones? And I was trying to explain to them, you know, it's a matter of, I don't want to have, like I have wet stones and I have oil stones and things like that. But the problem I try to avoid is when you start mixing stones, if you get any oil on a water stone, it's freaking ruined. Well, these I talked to a guy and he said these are okay to use with like mineral oil, but you know, I'm like, when you start mixing the mediums that you're sharpening with, and you've got stuff like that all over the place, and if you've got a good water stone and it's fairly porous, if you spill oil on that, it's done. You got to throw it away and buy a new one. They absorb that oil, and then they won't slurry up like you're supposed to. You hit it and it's a slick spot. It just comes apart on that area, and then you've basically ruined that stone. So I basically didn't get rid of, but moved all of my wet stones, my oil stones, out of the sharpening bench area. Not because they don't work. Well, two reasons. They take so long to cut. So most of your like Arkansas stones and stuff like that, they do give you a really crisp, really beautiful edge. They polish as they sharpen. So as they're moving off the material, they're also polishing, but that makes them take a long time. I can sharpen a knife way quicker on these than I ever could. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are some knives that just finish better. Small pocket knives that are in a softer steel, they finish great on a nice, hard Arkansas. And if I'm gonna do that, everything gets put away. Everything gets moved. One of the other things, if I get oil on these, they need to be absorbent. It's a water-based emulsion that I use that's got diamond in it. If I was to get oil on that, that's why I'm always really careful about any lubricants and stuff I have out here. Like out here's I just make sure it's tight. This has a spot where it stays well away from everything else. We'll move it over there for right now, but that way I'm not spilling it on strops or anything like that. You can completely ruin sharpening gear just by not paying attention. So I just got off the phone with a guy. We're talking about, he has a shop here in San Diego. They're going to, it's a veterans thing where they're teaching veterans advanced skill sets, like manufacturing, things like that. Talking to him, they're going to start making knives. We're going to talk about me sharpening knives, and maybe go in and talk to the guys about what happens when you sharpen, how it works, things like that. So deburr on this side. And we're going to go up to, this is my new 8000 that has a crack in it. I'm pretty upset with this last batch. Chauceras was not mounted. I mounted it to an old 600 grit. I peeled off the old 600, but it's cracked and it's fairly new. It's got a big crack in it, And it's not like I have treating them as splash and go. I was treating them as soaking stones. And I thought, okay, maybe the older stones, maybe that was the problem with the stones I had before. And now I'm getting this one and it just cracked. I thought maybe I'd soaked it too long and stuff like that. Like this, I just dip it, but it's cracking, and it's been inside, so it stays at a constant temperature. It only comes out here when I'm sharpening. And so I'm like, after it cracked, I was like, fuck it, it can stay out here. Crack kills a stone. But this 10,000 is great. And I mean, it cuts quick. I had just, look at that. Which is another reason I like the water stones. Like I said, I can get the same, yeah, I have to have more of them. Like a hard Arkansas, I wouldn't really need to have, no, show your boss. Show your boss, Alex, and show him and fucking have him say, hey, we need to offer this on our website as get his information. Show him that. I'm all joking aside, Alex. You can, if that's something you would like to do, we can talk. You can. My phone number is usually in the intro, but text me. I had a friend that ran an internet sales, and all he sold was straight razors, and he would send me a package of straight razors so that he could that package those straight razors as shave ready, and it was just a little added bonus that he had for his customers, and it was. I like telling people, I was like, look, if it's just something you want to just say, hey, you want somebody to sharpen your knives that you know knows what he's doing. And I've got 2 straight razors I'm going to try and do today. I would have liked to have seen them. I talked to you guys about 154 CM. I think it's a better steel than S30V. I know it doesn't hold an edge as long. I do know that. It's not as wear resistant and resilient as some of the, like S30V, don't get me wrong, but it's just not something I personally like. I don't think you get much of a benefit that you would get from some of the other super steels. But I think that the Griptilian was better in 154 CM. You know. And I mean, is this a horrible steel? No, but should they be charging? Should people at this point in the lifetime of how long 154 CM has been used? Yeah, S30V will chip, and people, Vinny argued that with me, and I was like, bro, it's great that you can try and tell me it doesn't, but I know for a fact that I fix chips on people's S30V knives. So, a knife like the Griptilian, that's a perfectly good steel for a knife like the Griptilian. Do not do this at home. This is method. I've just done it so many times that I don't even think about it. I know where to hold it and how much pressure I can apply. All right. One of the problems I have with 154 CM is sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, if you go too far, it gets cloudy. This guy's box of knives. Box. If things work out, deal with someone to sharpen a lot of stuff. Where did I put them? Let's see. How's this going to polish up? Small little spot that I got to take back down. I got to go back down a couple stones. Let's go back down. We'll go back down to the 8,000 and see. Got a little spot that just feels weird. Let's see how it does on this. I better sound like first class. I fucking was. It's retired, but I mean... I will tell you guys something. The respect you get going on a Marine Corps base versus going on a Navy base is something to behold. It really, truly is. Go on the base, 32nd Street Naval Base, like, yeah, whatever, go. You go on a Marine Corps base, those guys are like, thank you, Petty Officer, you have a good day, Petty Officer. They are, like, they take, those guys at the gate at a Marine Corps installation, they take their job fucking seriously. And here's the thing, that's not their primary job. 90% of the people that you see at a post on Marine Corps base, that's their duty day. That's the day that they have to be there for 24 hours, and they get assigned a duty day, and they're doing their job because they're battalion or whatever, and they're in, and so that's what they do for duty. And the level of respect that comes from Marines to anyone else in the military is, if you hold a rank that's higher, it's awesome. It really is. The guys are great, and I've went through. So I go up to Miramar pretty often. Those guys at the gate there, and I'll see them. It'll be hot, and it'll be hot out or something. And I'll fucking, if I know I'm going, I'll make sure I have like a couple cold waters for the guys on post. I'm like, hey, you guys look hot. Have some water. They're like, no, we got water. I was like, great, take it anyway. It made me feel good. I remember what it was like. I think it feels different. It feels like I corrected that little issue there, a little hiccup on that front. I just, Netflix streaming's not working right now, so I was like, let me do a live feed. It's not my Wi-Fi. Obviously, it's not my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi seems to be doing pretty well today. It's Netflix is not wanting to cooperate with me. Let's see. That looks way better. I sharpened a knife earlier today. It was weird. There was a flaw in the steel. And so I contacted the customer. I was like, hey, I don't want you to think this is me. And I sharpened it. I took it, tried to take it out, tried to take it out, tried to take it out. And there's just like a little dark line right on the edge bevel. But if you follow it back, you can see it looks like there's a flaw in the steel, like all back from the edge, clear back to like halfway through the primary grind. And I was like, wow, that's weird. I got to looking at it real close. There's like a dark stain in the steel, and it's in there pretty deep. So I mean, it's not like it affected. I can't feel anything. Like, so this is how I test to make sure there's no chips, no pressure. I just put my thumb on it and just drag it down, and you'll feel any chips and catches. Didn't feel anything like that. So I was like, wow, it's kind of weird. Kind of like my color right now. All right, Alex, take it easy. Well, I kind of thought it was a heat treat thing too, and I was like, you know what? Let me check it. But there was no flaws in the steel. It was just, it literally was just a stain. There was like no physical, issues in it. Because I've made some knives. Trust me, I know what a fucking heat treat crack looks like. You're like, fuck. Well. And then you're like, there's 18 hours of my life I won't ever get back. had to reload my strops. They don't stop cutting, but what happens is they build up steel that they've cut off, and they start making a shiny slick spot, and then you got to reload them. Because what happens is they're perfectly fine, but the little micro grooves pick up that black metal dust encrusted diamond, and it sticks down in there, and then you're like, I mean, you can rub it out. It's part of what this was sharpening was doing that. So that's why I shot the video when I did, was because I just had a few minutes while these were drying. I don't like putting off any step of it to the end. Like, I could easily sharpen all the knives in this box and then came back and done all the strapping, but then there's a chance you miss one. If you just do the entire thing all at once, it makes your life so much easier. There's no forgotten steps. I actually got in a rush. You guys ready for this one? A customer sent me Mr. French and his son sent me a whole box of knives. I sharpened all of them, thought I had them done, gave them to his father at Anaheim. He came and picked them up. And you know what I did? I missed an entire knife. It was down in the bottom. I'm like, how the fuck do I miss something like that? And it's because I got in a hurry, and that's why everything gets done. Period. Bye. You guys be careful, okay? Love you. Wife's going to pick my daughter up, take her ice skating. I hate getting the angles. There we go. There we go. It's like, these are okay. Now I am going to complain about this. You see how that's ground? Well, that's ground for a left-hand cut. That edge being kicked over is for how someone cut. That's why when I make one of my kiridashis, I always ask, are you right or left-handed? Because this makes it difficult for a right-handed person to cut. It's like trying to cut with a pair of left-handed scissors. It just does not. Whew. Trust me, boys, it's sharp. Somebody just asked what my thoughts are. I don't like the V-grinds that they, I do not like the chisels that they put. Now, this one was meant to be a chisel. It's completely flat on the back. Then it's got the primary grind and then the sharpening bevel. That's a proper, that's proper. But they're all built for somebody that's left-handed. That's how you would cut left-handed, just like every other knife. So, like I said, if you order, my sharpening grind would be on the opposite side compared to this. So. So, I mean, that one's done. There's another one in here somewhere. Let's see what this one is. I think it's the same freaking knife. This is an additional 10. I have to go back and look at the sharpening, the invoice I sent him in the first place. Well, we'll save that one for later. So, well, guys, internet's not working the greatest. I just wanted to just talk to you guys for a little bit. It's been like 30 minutes. That's a pretty good live feed. I don't want my live feeds to be like, some of my live feeds are like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But like I say, you got time, go watch the video about Matt's knife that I put up, because it's for sale. I'm selling it for him, so. There's just an Emerson Knives catalog in the bottom of this box. I'm like, So, yeah, guys. We will re-adjourn later. Talk to y'all. Go watch that video. Somebody buy Matt's